Some people lose their success, not because they're unlucky, but because they keep saying, "I'll do it tomorrow." This story will show you how tomorrow destroyed an entire life. A long time ago, in the heart of a dense and ancient forest, there lay a prosperous town named Suvarnagram. The town shone like gold, not because of riches alone, but because its people understood something precious, the value of time. Every morning, as the first rays of sunlight touched the fields, you could hear the soft rhythm of plows, the chirping of birds, and the gentle murmur of flowing rivers. Shopkeepers opened their stalls with discipline, children studied under the care of their mothers, and farmers worked with devotion. Because of this habit of respecting time, Suvarnagram continued to remain wealthy, peaceful, and content. But a little distance away stood a very different village, Alashapur. Here, the people were lazy and careless. Their favorite saying was, "Why do today what we can easily do tomorrow?" Slowly, their fields became barren, their homes broken, and poverty settled over the village like a dark shadow. Work was never done on time, and the people had forgotten how precious each moment was. In this village lived two friends, Nalin and Bhadrak. Nalin was hardworking, punctual, and wise. He believed that every minute was a gift. Bhadrak, however, believed in postponing everything. He had a habit of saying, "It's fine, we'll do it tomorrow." Nalin's field was always clean and full of crops, while Bhadrak's was covered in wild weeds. Nalin's home was strong and well kept, while Bhadrak's home was always waiting for repairs that he never started. One day, a well-known merchant named Vyas Chand from Suvarnagram arrived in Alasyapur. He traded in grains, cloth, and gems. Standing at the village square, he announced, "I will return in 2 days. Whoever wants to sell their grains, be ready. I will pay good money." Nalin immediately began his work. He harvested his ripe crops, dried them carefully, cleaned the grains, filled them into sacks, and neatly tied them. By evening, everything was ready. Seeing Bhadrak resting under a tree, Nalin said, "Brother, prepare your grains too. This is a good opportunity." But Bhadrak smiled lazily and replied, "Relax, Nalin. 2 full days are left. Why hurry today? Today is for resting." Nalin tried one last time and said, "Opportunities don't wait for those who sleep." But Bhadrak waved his hand and went back to lounging in the shade. 2 days later, when the merchant returned, he was impressed by Nalin's neat, dry grains. He bought the entire stock happily and paid Nalin a good amount. But when he visited Bhadrak, he found wet, spoiling grains that smelled faintly of rot. Vyas Chand sighed and said, "Friend, I cannot buy this. I will only suffer a loss." Bhadrak's face fell. The merchant left, and opportunity slipped from his hands just like time. A few months later, a fierce fire broke out in the forest near the village. The flames rose high, and the wind carried them toward Alasyapur. Nalin immediately gathered the villagers. "If we don't stop the fire now, it will destroy our entire village." But Bhadrak once again said, "The fire is far away. Why rush? We'll see tomorrow." But nature does not wait. By nightfall, the flames reached the edge of the village. Some houses burned, children cried, and people ran in fear. Nalin's house remained safe because he had already built a protective boundary of wet soil around it. Bhadrak's home, however, was reduced to ashes. For the first time, he felt the crushing weight of consequences. Sometime later, the king of Suvarnagram announced a grand festival. Whoever brings the most beautiful and useful creation will receive wealth and a position of honor. Nalin immediately went to the forest, searched for the best wood, and began carving a cradle, smooth, strong, and graceful. With every cut, he remembered the king's words. With every polish, he smiled at the thought of giving something meaningful. Bhadrak, as usual, thought, "There is plenty of time." Days passed. Nalin completed a beautiful cradle. Bhadrak completed nothing. On the day of the festival, crowds gathered. Suvarnagram seemed to glow with excitement. When Nalin presented his cradle, the king's face lit up with admiration. Your dedication and punctuality reflect true talent. From today, you shall be the treasurer of Suvarnagram. Badrak stood in the crowd, empty-handed, watching his friend walk toward honor, a moment he could have earned too, if only he had valued time. One evening, Nalin sat with Badrak and said gently, "Let me tell you a small story. Long ago, a crow and a parrot lived in a jungle. Before summer arrived, the parrot strengthened his nest, bringing sticks, leaves, and strong vines. But the crow laughed and said, 'The weather is nice, why work now?' But when the storms came, the crow's nest broke apart. He shivered in the rain, cold and miserable. The parrot, safely inside his strong nest, stayed warm and dry. Nalin looked at Badrak and said, 'The one who does not respect time becomes like that crow, suffering because he delayed.' Badrak sighed and whispered, 'You're right. From tomorrow, I will change.' Nalin smiled sadly. 'Badrak, tomorrow never comes.' A year later, a terrible famine struck the land. Rain did not fall, the earth cracked, crops withered. Only those who had saved grains and water survived. Nalin opened his storage and helped many families. Badrak, weak, hungry and sick, came to him with tears in his eyes. 'Friend, now I finally understand. Time is the greatest treasure. I wish I had learned earlier.' Nalin gently gave him water and replied, 'Time is like a flowing river. Once it passes, it never comes back. Using it wisely is the secret to life's success. Remember, time is the most valuable treasure,